Today on Locked On Rockies, we were talking about the Rockies revamping some of their veteran pitchers. That's all well and good, but let's go big picture. Who needs to be the Rockies MVP, and why is it Ezequiel Tovar?
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 23rd day of December in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here. Talking Rockies baseball, free and streaming for you all on the Locked On Rockies podcast and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. Today, I want to continue our conversation a little bit from yesterday about revamping and what players need to have strong seasons for the Colorado Rockies. Plus, it's the holidays, so let's talk about gifts for the Rockies. We'll also read some comments from the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section and get ready for the holiday week. So we'll do all that and more on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. But before we go any further, want to thank you again for making us your first listen of the day. I am Paul Holden, your Rockies fan extraordinaire. I've been bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk for over 5 seasons now and been following this team my entire life. So going along this Rockies fandom ride right alongside you. And so if you want to be part of the show, if you want to be right here with the Locked On Rockies fans, head on over to the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, fire off those hot takes, let me know what is on your mind. Before we go any further today, got to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. So yesterday on the show, we were talking about the Rockies hopefully being able to get a second level or unlock something, work with Antonio Senzatella and Kyle Freeland to really, to provide them with something that they haven't been provided with a lot. And hopefully through that, we're going to see a better performance. I mean, we saw some good stuff from Kyle from time to time, as we always have seen. But the big question mark still will be Antonio Senzatella. And because of that conversation and because of the stuff that we were thinking, or at least for me, I was thinking about, okay, are those, when we're talking about the importance of guys needing a turnaround, are those two guys the most important? And I know the Kyle Freeland, when we're talking about turnaround, over one WAR. I mean, it's for Rockies standards, for 2025 Rockies standards, Kyle Freeland was far and away not the problem for the Colorado Rockies, was not one of the issues for the Colorado Rockies. But when I was thinking about it, and this follows suit with the trend that we've talked about a few times here, especially through the offseason, and especially when we've talked about what does the what does the best version of the Rockies look like? When the Rockies are rolling, what area of the game is thriving? Is it, I mean, obviously it's a cohesive unit, it's a cohesive team thing, right? And I've always leaned on and been someone that's kind of been more in the Rockies' path to success is going to be built on strong offenses and strong position player play. And you ride with the lumps and the ups and the downs of what your pitching staff is going to bring you. That's kind of how I've operated. That's how I've looked at things. And I think that's especially true this year. I think for the Rockies in 2026, their MVP needs to be a non-Hunter Goodman position player. And for me, the MVP needs to be Ezequiel Tovar. And it's not because I think that Ezequiel Tovar, has actually it kind of is. I want Ezequiel Tovar to establish that what he's done in 23 and 24, that's the norm. That's the standard for Ezequiel Tovar. The standard for Ezequiel Tovar is a 3.8 WAR player, is a guy that hits 45 doubles, is a guy that's going to go up there and be an impact bat, and is a guy that cuts down his strikeouts tremendously. This Ezequiel Tovar is a potential superstar. I believe this. A guy that has already been in the conversation for elite defense, a guy that has won a Gold Glove, a guy that is elite at hitting doubles, a guy that can really take advantage and really maximize being a Coors Field player. This is the year that he goes in feeling healthy. He's feeling confident, and he knows this Ezequiel Tovar is the rock, should be the rock. I love Hunter Goodman. I love the season that Hunter Goodman had. Imagine if Hunter Goodman is able to make his season the standard and be able to replicate what he did in 2025, paired with an Ezequiel Tovar that performs at the rate that he did in 2024. An Ezequiel Tovar that bats 269, 295, 469. And even those numbers, you're sitting there like, that's not all that impressive. But you're sitting there and you're saying, this is a guy that drove in 78, 26 home runs, 45 doubles. Of his 176 hits, 45 of them were doubles. The big issues, obviously, 200 strikeouts in that same season and 166 strikeouts, 366 strikeouts in 2 seasons. And then you add nearly 100 there in an injury-shortened season there with only 95 games played. Still striking out more than once per game. If Ezequiel Tovar plays at an all-star level, and it's backed up by Hunter Goodman playing the caliber of ball that we know he can play, and it's a bounce back season from Brenton Doyle, the Rockies have a shot at avoiding 100 losses. And I know that that's not a very high standard, but that is a monumental shift and a monumental flip from what we're talking about from the Rockies between 25 and 26. Ezequiel Tovar is the guy that you can be excited about and look for and look towards as the guy to really start piecing and advertising about and talking about. This is a Gold Glove winner, a guy that hits for power and hits well and plays elite defense at a position that we know is flashy and fun for the Rockies fan. When the Rockies have produced great shortstops, and when the shortstops have performed, they are incredibly popular. You would be hard-pressed to tell me that Troy Tulowitzki and Trevor Story are not 2 of the most popular Rockies of the past 20 years. Right? Like that would be, I would argue that those 2 are very, very popular amongst the Rockies fans. And Ezequiel Tovar has done great things for the Rockies outside of his injury-riddled season last year. This is his moment. This is his moment to establish himself as the Rockies player that is great. And I hope Hunter Goodman, again, I want Hunter Goodman to do this. I want Brenton Doyle to be producing. I want Jordan Beck to be a consistent player and to break through. I want the Rockies to find success at the corner basis. I want the Rockies to find success across the diamond. But for me, when I think about how important Ezequiel Tovar really is to this team and can be and will be to this team going forward as a potential piece for the guy to start selling jerseys about, to start putting in the advertisements, to start making your face of your franchise. Hunter Goodman can fit into this as well. That's great. But the Rockies need to start having multiple 2+, 3+ WAR players. And it needs to start with these 2. And Brenton Doyle needs to be in this conversation as well. If these guys perform at the level that they're capable of, those 3 are going to help shift the fate of the Rockies enough that it's going to avoid being as bad as it has been in 2025 and the previous seasons. a healthy, strong season from the three of those guys, mixed with what I've said before, the Rockies needing to bring in a solid veteran piece for third base, second base, first base. You need to bring in someone that is going to be an impact there. You can't just scrape for a utility player there. If the Rockies position group can have 4 players be 2+ WAR players, you're looking at a situation where the Rockies could flirt with 70 wins. And again, I understand how that sounds. I understand how ridiculous that is. That's not playoffs. That's not winning divisions. That's not anything fancy. But that is a significant and massive turnaround when you're talking about wins for the Colorado Rockies. When you're talking about things looking and moving and starting to be a foundation building for a team for pieces to start building around, or pieces to start exploring. How can we, if we're not going to build around these guys, how can we, build for the next version? These guys, Ezequiel Tovar's timeline can still line up very well for the Colorado Rockies. We just need to see the best. We need to see that version of Ezequiel Tovar that we've seen before. And on top of that, we need to see a version of Ezequiel Tovar we've never seen before. The Ezequiel Tovar that doesn't strike out. The Ezequiel Tovar that gets on base via the walk. The Ezequiel Tovar that puts the ball over the wall a little bit. The Ezequiel Tovar that leads the league in doubles. I don't think it's crazy to sit here and think that Ezequiel Tovar can lead Major League Baseball in doubles. And if he does something like that, it's going to be a massive and wonderful sign for the Colorado Rockies. I truly think, and I think you can look at Chase Dolander, you can look at Ryan Feltner, you can look at the young bullpen, you can look at Charlie Condon, you can look at Jordan Beck, Mickey Moniak, some of these other names here. And maybe there's an argument for their case being, if they're the team MVP, that's huge for the Rockies. I still think it's the fact that the Rockies, if they can create another superstar shortstop, that might be the type of lightning rod you're looking for here to put a pulse and some energy into the Colorado Rockies and the Colorado Rockies fandom. Let me know what you think. Let me know what's on your mind. Coming up in segment number 2, let's get in the holiday spirit and let's talk about some gifts for the Rockies. Coming up next. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast, and the Broncos can't move on fast enough, right? One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting in real time. And, folks, you might just be sitting there, and you're winding down your Christmas festivities and stuff. You're watching the Broncos take on the Chiefs, and you're just like, hey, this Broncos defense against the Chiefs offense that is really limited at quarterback. Let me see what's going on with the defensive props. They got you covered at FanDuel because they got live spreads and money lines that adjust instantly, player props that updates as guys heat up, and you can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Folks, welcome back into Locked On Rockies, segment number 2 here of your daily Colorado Rockies talk. Thank you so much again for making us your first listen of the day and for your support. And thanks to your support, we are now the #1 sports podcast network. Shout outs to all of you. We got you covered. That's what we do on Locked On. You got a team you like, you got a team you follow. We got you covered with the Locked On podcast, all about them. And that's what our Rockies fans are enjoying. And if you're an everydayer already, you can go ahead and take that step to the next level with the Everydayer Club. You get access to an ad-free audio feed for the Locked On Rockies podcast. That's compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every major podcast app. So if you don't want the ads, you just want the action, you just want to hear me yapping, well, you can check it out there with the Everydayer Club. And not only that, you're going to get to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Discord Club server where you can talk to every other Locked On fans, dive into all the action, get some tips maybe about a nice little something to check out on FanDuel. You never know. Go and check out the new and improved Locked On Rockies Everydayer Club. Join the Everydayer Club, lockedonrockies.supercast.com. That's lockedonrockies.supercast.com. If you know an everydayer out there, you can also give one as a gift for the holidays. Perfect, simple, easy thing. $50 for that annual membership. And there you go. Speaking of gifts for the holidays, let's get in the holiday spirit here for the Rockies. And let's talk about if the Rockies were able to be visited by good old St. Nick, good old Santa Claus, what would be some wonderful gifts? Obviously, we're talking about players needing a bounce back year and performance. So let's go through. For Brenton Doyle, the gift would be a consistent and strong bat. Brenton Doyle is an elite defender. Brenton Doyle has speed. Brenton Doyle is a special baseball player. We just need to see him be the offensive threat that we know he can be. If the offense becomes consistent for Brenton Doyle, he is going to be one of the most, because we've seen this before, and we know he is one of the most exciting center fielders in the entire game. The problem is when obviously everything that happened in 2025, there's a lot of context that is required for Brenton Doyle's season. But we know when Brenton Doyle is in a groove, the Rockies are in a groove. When Brenton Doyle is impacting the game on offense, he's impacting the game on defense. He's putting the Rockies in a position to win, and he's someone that has not backed down from the challenge of playing center field at Coors Field. So, no doubt about it. One of the best gifts, one of the best things that Santa Claus can bring for the Colorado Rockies is a consistent bat and a strong bat for Brenton Doyle. The next thing, the next biggest gift, the next best thing, if we could rely on the magic and the spirit of the season to fix the Colorado Rockies, not just the real world, it would be the Rockies signing a major league impact starter. And as a result of that, the rest of the rotation as well just improves. Chase Dollander has a strong sophomore season. He gets to be able to get in the lab with this new pitching staff, be able to go in and say, hey, this is what we were working on. This is my approach. This is what we were working on. And I wasn't feeling the results. I wasn't feeling the thing. This wasn't working for me. Well, let's do it this way. Let's work on this. And then, boom, it brings out a strong sophomore season for Chase Dollander. He has a strong season at home. That's the best gift that Chase Dollander can have, a strong season at Coors Field where he's not afraid. He's not impacted by the altitude as much, and he's able to go out there and shut down some bats and major bats in certain situations. Remember, this Rockies pitching staff is going to be tested throughout the year. The schedule is another brutal one, and the schedule is loaded with the National League West, which is full of talent. The National League West, there's not a single bad team in the National League West. Again, you can say what you will about the Giants. They're doing revamping, they're doing retooling. Things are starting to get interesting over there. The National League West is going to be looking to feast on the Colorado Rockies every single time they match up. So this is the moment where we need to see, not just that we need to see, but the moment, this is the opportunity here for Chase Dollander to rise to the occasion. It would be great to see him not only be great at home, but be great against the division as well. And that goes across the board. The Rockies need good starting pitching. It's not going to just come from the guys there. They need to be able to bring some, I really truly, as much as I believe, the Rockies needing to make some free agent acquisitions, and they're probably not going to do it with a pitcher, they're going to need to figure out something. They're going to need to bring in an arm here that's going to shore up and stabilize this rotation. Someone that is going to be able to be a 3, 4, 5 spot here and give you something and give you a consistent, strong presence in the middle there. It doesn't have to be the greatest pitcher. It doesn't have to be a Cy Young, but it needs they need someone to stabilize this rotation and someone that can handle pitching at home and on the road. And the one of the last gifts and one of the things that I can think about is just a renewed sense of interest in this team. This team needs to be interesting. This team needs to give us a reason immediately to the start of the season to raise the eyebrows of why is this team different? We can point to all the things that are that have changed. We can point to all the new names. We can point to the different directions. We can point to this and that and this and that and this and that. But we need to be given Rockies fans need to be given a reason to start buying back in, to start buying into this rebuild and start buying into what the Rockies are doing. And we need to see that right away. We need to see that in spring. We need to see that this team is moving in the right direction. And it's because that's what's the tough part about the evaluation of everything right now. It's like in a vacuum, in a small thing. Hey, it's outside voices. Hey, look at these resumes. They're impressive. This, that. But the games, we need to see it translate into the actual games. And we need to see it translate throughout an entire 162. We need to see a Rockies team that's more competitive this year. That I guess maybe that might be the better way to phrase it in our theme here. The best gift that Santa can bring for the Rockies fan in 2026 is competitive baseball. Is a team that doesn't look completely outmatched. Is a team that steals some wins from a team that they're not supposed to. A team that wins some close ball games. A team that doesn't set constant markers of bad history. Because the 2025 Colorado Rockies are going to live in infamy. The Colorado Rockies name is now, as much as it already was, is now forever associated with historically bad. So the Colorado Rockies fan needs to be given and gifted competitive baseball and a reason to buy in and believe in this team again. Hopefully we see it. Hopefully this team is able to make some more to make a couple of moves to shore things up and to create a team that can avoid losing 100 games again. Because that's what the Rockies fan needs to see. And that's the gift that the Rockies fan deserves, is competitive baseball. But maybe, who knows? Maybe the Rockies fan is stuck on the naughty list just because of our allegiances to the Colorado Rockies. But what do you think would be the biggest gift for the Rockies? If Santa could bring the Rockies one thing, what would it be? Let me know in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. We're going to get to your comments here before closing out the show. Coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Gametime in the midst of basketball season, and there's nothing like being in the building. Hey, Ball Arena, when everything's going good for the Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic, the crowd, the energy, the moments. You can't watch from the couch. You want to be there. You want to be in the action. You got to see one of the greatest basketball players of all time in person right there at your favorite venue. Getting tickets used to be a hassle with long queues, logins, and price changes at checkout. Not anymore. Gametime is such a game changer. It puts the advantage back in the fans' hands. It makes scoring great NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. You can fire up the app and get a great deal on your seats with all the fees and everything included in the price up front. Plus, you're going to get yourself a view from the seat, so you know exactly where you're going to sit. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Locked On Rockies here, back with you all for segment number 3 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. Just like Rob says when we're asking the question, can the Colorado Rockies revamp Kyle Freeland and Antonio Senzatella in 2026? Here's a short answer: no. They can't be revamped because neither of them have ever been very good. At the best, they are slightly below average pitchers. Antonio Senzatella falls in with that. Again, I will push back on this. Kyle Freeland is a good pitcher. You can be frustrated with some of the stuff. You can you can look at his win-loss or ERA or whatever, and you can let that be the deciding thing. And again, there are factors that are not pretty numbers for Kyle Freeland. But you're going to tell me that a career 19 WAR guy is a bad pitcher that pitched his entire career at Coors Field is a bad pitcher. That's just not true. Just plain and simple is not true. Kyle Freeland has been a good major league pitcher, especially when you talk about the park factors. Hey, again, I own up to it. I say it every time. I am a Kyle Freeland homer. I will say that. But the numbers don't lie. You can be frustrated again. You can be pissed off about some of the stuff for Kyle Freeland, but last year, 1.4 WAR. And you know for a fact watching that, I believe he was the only Rocky starter with an ERA under 5 as well. Kyle Freeland, incredibly unlucky as well, especially when you're talking about how piss poor the Rockies defense was in 2026. Alan says Kyle Freeland was pretty solid last year. I think that new pitching coaches could capitalize on what he did last year for a better year. Senza, total wild card for me. I think, and Luis says something similar here. Senzatella is going to be a very, very interesting Rocky to watch next year. What's going on in his mind? How is he feeling? Where is he at right now with the shift to the bullpen? How does that look? Because again, if it could be a good move for him, it really could. I mean, we know that the more batters see Antonio Senzatella, the more he struggles, the more issues he has. For it to be in the bullpen, we'll have to see. But I think that the question marks remain. And here's what Luis says. I want to see it for sure. I, like you, Paul, am a Freeland fan. I want to see him succeed at Coors Field. Now, do I think it's possible? Yes. I'm not sure about Senzatella. Not because he's bad, but because I haven't seen things that particularly impress me about him. Keep in mind, I've kept up with the team full-time only this year, but I would hope he can. Kyle, even with the poor record this year, still had impressive moments. So I think these guys still have talent that could be coached, and that's what I'm hoping. And that's what I think that was kind of, I don't know if I articulated that enough in the podcast yesterday. I really hope that Kyle Freeland and Antonio Senzatella are going into this season feeling a little rejuvenated in a sense of, hey, I can get some answers. Hopefully we can work together here to start unlocking something, to start doing something differently, to start finding out something or changing something else. Hopefully this just opens doors for them in the sense of being able to search for answers in more creative ways, search for answers within, by diving deeper into the numbers or diving deeper into the analytics and the mechanics and things like that. I just hope that this new approach and this new pitching philosophy has them excited and sitting there saying, I think I'm going to be able to learn something new here. I'm going to be able to take something away from this and I'm going to come out on the other side a stronger and better pitcher. I really, truly hope that's the case. But the long-term profile and the concerns and the hesitations and the issues with Antonio Senzatella are the things that do make me hesitate. I believe he is in a position where it's got to until I can start feeling confident and hopeful and excited about him. It's improve it unfortunately it's improve it territory. We got to see it from Senza. Gotta see it from Senza, especially as he adjusts and gets to the new role. Folks, that is actually going to do it for us for the week. I am heading out and doing some traveling here for the holidays. We will be back next week. I know it's like I said, the schedule fluctuates sometimes. I ran out of time to get you a third episode here for the week, but we'll be rocking and rolling next week. We'll be going there, making sure that we got you covered here. I got to go. I'm taking the holiday break. That's all I got for you on that one. Sorry, but we'll be back in action here when I'm back in town, talking rocks, getting ready and excited here. But really appreciate all the support throughout the year, folks. Really appreciate you all tuning in here, firing off those Rockies hot takes. Please continue to be part of the show. Please continue to support the show. Share the videos. Be part of it. Rockies fans, I want to hear from you. I want to talk about what you want to talk about. I am right here with you. So let me know what's on your mind. Let me know what you're thinking about in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. For your second listen of the day, go check out Locked On MLB. And if you need more Colorado sports coverage, we got you covered with Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, and Buffs, all free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. Folks, until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.